Okay, guys, today we're playing DayZ in 2025. It's been how many years now? It was 12 years ago when the alpha was first released back in 2013, and I think 13 years since the Arma 2 mod DayZ first released. So, over a decade of history that this game has had, and it's transformed a lot over the years. I remember back in the day thinking this game was never going to be finished, was never going to leave the alpha stage, because it was years before it finally got out of that and was not early access anymore. And now it is a full-fledged game that still has some issues, like that there's some bugs here and there that pop up, but it is very, very refined and polished compared to if you were playing back in 2012, 2013 like I was. Yeah, a lot of late nights playing this game and not going to sleep even though I had school in the morning. I have a lot of good memories with this game. That being said, I suck ass at this game, so I am probably not qualified to give an actual opinion on DayZ because it is a brutal survival game that requires a little bit of ability and skill that I clearly do not possess. It's hard because I'll say like one negative thing about this game that I think we can all agree on, at least, is the lack of crossplay. So this game does not have crossplay support whatsoever, which is fine for a game that came out in 2013, but because of how many years have passed by and they're still releasing content for this game, we just got the huge Frostline expansion last year, so the game still gets support and updates, and it's just kind of it's tough getting into a game and investing a lot of time into it when you can't play with your friends, because this is like the perfect game to play with other people, right? I mean, any multiplayer game is, but especially a game like this when you have a bunch of buddies that you can squad up with. I actually have one of my very close friends who is a huge DayZ player. He even streams DayZ very often and plays with a bunch of people, but I'm kind of shut out because all of them have PlayStation and I'm on PC. So I'm just kind of like screwed. So I can't play with him. And I don't really have any other IRL friends that play DayZ. So I'm pretty much shit out of luck. I'm just going to have to play solo or try to find a bunch of randoms on Discord, which I don't feel like doing. So that being said, it's not a bad game. It's still great. I say it still holds up would probably be a little bit of a lie because it was janky to begin with, and it's definitely still maintains a lot of that jankiness despite all the fixes and updates that have come over time. But you really can't find a game like this in 2025. Even still, like all the games that have tried to copy and replicate it over the years. I mean, you have Pal World, which is a huge survival game, but it's very different compared to DayZ. I mean, DayZ's all about zombies, right? And Pal World is like a Pokemon, I'm not going to say knockoff, because that's disrespectful. It's actually like a really good game in its own right, but you know what I mean. So, DayZ is still a very unique experience that you can't really have in any other game, and for that reason alone, I would say it's worth at least trying. I don't have any problems getting into games. They're, like, even without the crossplay, all platforms, from my understanding, still have a very strong player base. You'll have, like, a shit ton of servers to choose from. It doesn't really matter which region you live in either, because usually I have a disclaimer in a lot of my videos where I say, oh yeah, the game's still worth playing, it has a lot of players, but only in, like, North America or Europe. But in the case of DayZ, you'll be able to find anyone no matter where you are, so that's also really good. And it's cheap enough these days as well. I never played Frostline, so I can't really comment on that. I know that there are a lot of people that have mixed opinions on it because they feel like it's good, but just not worth the price of the expansion. I think it was like a $30 expansion. People feel like it was a little bit overpriced and should have just been a regular update for everyone. I'm not going to comment on that, but just know that the expansion exists. So if you love DayZ and you enjoyed all the content from the base game and you want some more, pick up that expansion. Just be prepared, though. It's a brutal, brutal game. Very unforgiving. Finding food, finding water, finding ammo, finding weapons, and everything to stay alive is a grind and is really, really tough. Sometimes you'll be wandering around for ages trying to get all the gear you want, only to get your head blown off by a random. Yeah, the player base in DayZ is, they don't give two fucks. They are merciless. They get off on killing other players and stealing all their loot. I mean, that's kind of the whole purpose of the game, But yeah, it really is a soul-crushing moment when you spend all those hours and all that time building your character and gathering all your shit, only to lose everything and have to start all over again. So, if you enjoy that, like if you like playing Battle Royale games because of the intensity of like, if I die, I lose it all and I have to start again, well, this is like that times 50, you know? I think where this game really shines is on PC, where you can download mods straight off the Steam Workshop. So if you see a server, it says, this server has modded content, and it automatically downloads it for you. You don't have to be a skilled PC gamer modder and have to figure out all these different programs to install and this and that, because sometimes it's really hard to mod certain games. But in the case of DayZ, it's easy as just clicking and getting the mods. Like, there really is no steps to it. So that increases the longevity and the playability of DayZ, especially the PC version. Because by the time the console version came out, I was already like long away from consoles for years. I switched to PC a while ago and never looked back. And I do wish that you did have the crossplay. That's like the one big negative thing I could say, but the player base is still healthy. You still have a lot of updates and content that still comes out here and there. I mean, for a game that's as old as it is, it's pretty impressive how they're able to keep that up. And it still provides a unique experience, like I also said earlier, that you can't really get anywhere else. So for all those reasons, DayZ is worth playing in 2025. It's not really for me, because it requires a huge time commitment that as a working adult I no longer have, that I used to have when I was 15 playing the game for the first time, but it's still something that I come back to every now and then. It still holds up very well.